Hello, this is Cho of the Shiny Colors Discord. Welcome to another episode of the Shiny Review. Today we've got two cards to talk about. We have the new Produce SSR for Nichika, as well as the Support SSR for Chiyoko. Keep in mind that these cards are limited. Once this banner is over, the likelihood of seeing these cards again is going to be incredibly rare, unless we do the usual anniversary affair, or at least the hopefully frequent anniversary affair of having limited cards show back up on a future banner. So, with that being said, let's talk about Nichika. So, Nichika is a pure dance unit. Her 0-star appeal is a dance 3.8 that raises Mikoto's appeal strength by 1.0 for 2 turns, and also reduces your current mental by 15%. The plus appeal, which requires the full She's lineup and your mental to be 99% or higher, is an additional 15% mental damage cut. The upgraded version of the appeal is a dance 5.0 that raises Mikoto's appeals by 1.0 for 4 turns, but then also reduces your current mental by 20%. And the Link appeal now requires your mental to be 95% or higher, with the full She's lineup to have an additional 20% mental damage cut. Which is to say it's reducing your mental, not the damage reduction part of it. We'll get into that in a second. For her passives, her 1-star passive is a dance 60% up if Nichika's on your team, and it has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 2-star passive is a dance 120% up if your mental is between 35% and 69%. This also has a 30% chance to activate twice. Then, in typical She's fashion, she has 3 4-star passives. The first, a dance 100% up if you have at least 1 or more members of Nichika on your team, which is pretty alright, and it has a 15% chance to activate twice. The second is a dance 80% up and damage 50% cut, so with this passive active you take half damage. It requires you to have 64% or lower mental, as well as 1 or more Nocchill members on your team, which has a 15% chance to activate twice. And finally, a dance 80% up and mental 10% heal if your current mental is lower than 34% and you have 1 or more Alstroemeria members on your team, which has a 50% chance to activate once. For her memory appeal, it's a dance 2.0 that links into an additional dance 2.0. Nichika is fine on paper. Really, the biggest thing holding Dance She's back is the lack of an AoE Mikoto to break these appeal bonuses. This Nichika is a very clear support card, but doesn't have a card that really can funnel this support into something really powerful yet. The passives on this Nichika are also kind of confusing and lead to weird conflicting strategies in being health cut focused on her appeals, which makes sense with Nichika, but then she wants to play with Alstroemeria in a form of sort of anti-synergy, as if the intention is, oh, we're getting too low, so now you need to heal back up. Problem is that the best support lineup for Dance right now is full Alstroemeria, so the Nichika side of things actually ends up becoming more problematic, which means the health cut that Nichika gives isn't very useful either. Now, giving She's a plus appeal also seems like a kind of bad idea, since it's not like She's have exactly had trouble Link appealing in the past, since their unit is 2 people. And realistically, I think the introduction of plus appeal was to help out units like Nichika and Hokuda that had trouble Link appealing, and so they gave them an alternate condition in order to use those benefits. I can't super recommend this Nichika unless you are really interested in investing in Dance She's for the future, or if you pull for Nichika, it's to unlock the funny dinosaur costume. For all I know, the Mikoto that they release that's meant to synergize with this Nichika will make this card look really broken, which would not be too surprising considering that She's has had a stranglehold on the meta whenever their cards are actually relevant. When you think about how long Visual She's was relevant to the meta for as long as it was after the introduction of the appropriate Mikoto and Nichika. And now we've seen that Vocal She's is trying to start doing things, so who knows. I think for this card specifically, we can look at this to be like an A to an A+. I think this card is a very strong enabler. There's a little bit of conflict as to how it wants to necessarily function, but I think once this card gets that Mikoto in question, it's going to look very good. So next then, we have the Chiyoko. So this Chiyoko is a very spooky card, but is also a pure dance card. First things first, her Masteries. She has a couple Masteries that are worth talking about. The first being Unit Mastery SP, which reaches plus 10 at level 75, otherwise is plus 5 at level 70, plus 3 at level 50. She has Unit Mastery Dance Limit Up, which is a plus 5 at level 80, plus 3 at level 75, plus 2 at level 60. Dance Stay Mastery, which reaches plus 3 at level 70, otherwise plus 2 at level 5. And finally, Dance Mastery Stamina, which is plus 5 at level 80, plus 3 at level 65, or plus 1 at level 30. In terms of the Masteries, this card is pretty okay. I think that the slight reduction of Dance Mastery Stamina is sort of understandable, as you are trading it off with a bit more Unit Mastery SP. The problem is that SP, outside of the really only relevant game mode, doesn't really do a ton. Step doesn't really care too much about SP Masteries, especially when it's only plus 10. And in theory, you're getting a lot, but the problem is that Dance Hokuda doesn't have a ton of particularly amazing supports nowadays, since the benchmark for a hot while was the Summer Natsuha, and now that card is not necessarily bad. The passives are really the only thing holding it back. Now, let's talk about the rest of the card. So the default appeal is a Dance 3.0, and the upgraded version of the appeal is a Dance 3.5 that duets guaranteed with Choco. For her passives, she has a Dance 50% up if Choco's on your team, which has a 20% chance to activate once. Her 2-star passive is a Dance 120% up if you have 4 or more Hokuda members in your skill history, which has a 20% chance to activate twice. And finally, a Dance 100% up if you are in the dance position, which has a 20% chance to activate once. Choco is pretty reasonable, if not maybe a little undertuned. She's definitely intended to be a pure Dance Hokuda support to avoid the usual trappings of making a Hokuda card a little too good for other teams on occasion. Dance Stay Mastery is still a little weak in practice. They've really been overvaluing that ability in particular, especially when they're only dropping it with a couple levels at most for maxed out cards, when in reality I think the numbers should probably be a little more substantial if they're going to try to keep pushing it like it's some huge premium skill. The passive 120% up from having 4 or more Hokuda members in the skill history is really nice. It's what really solidifies this as being a Hokuda-centric card. Although, I will say the shoehorned positional buff that we've been seeing in limited cards recently is starting to get a little old, and I would kind of like to see them try other things with this. Just a little bit, at least. I think in terms of a grade, this card earns an A+ to an S-. Definitely very good in Dance Hokuda, where she belongs. Otherwise, she's going to feel kind of okay, especially if you're building a dance position unit that isn't from Hokuda. So, that will do it for the video today. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to, well, like the video, to let us know how well we're doing over here on the channel. And make sure to share it around, too, for people who are interested in this kind of format for shiny colors. Next time, we'll be talking about whatever banner comes next, so let's look forward to it together. I've been Cho. Again, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day.